I'm doing, you know how like, and there've been very good books that look back on a huge wrestling star's career. But looking back over 30 years, you got to kind of pick and choose.
Yeah.
And one thing I liked, I'm gonna hopefully take this as the compliment it is, because it's also in my book. I thought you and I did a good job of bringing people into the moment because we weren't covering such huge chunks of time. You're now on your sixth.
This is fourth.
Oh, fourth. Okay.
Yeah.
But you're able to go a little deeper into matches, whereas other guys are talking about monumental matches and they can only give a paragraph
Because they have to do their whole career in 3 pages. Don't work that way.
And I knew I had a good story with a 5 year arc where definite lessons were learned, and I was a much better person at the end of the 5 years than I was when I started.
Hey.
Fighting is a necessity here in Reykjavik.
Right.
At your service.
I started it, and it had been something that had really helped me out in a major way when it's the difference between retiring and I'm coming back into one match. When you're in a neurologist's office and he says you should never wrestle again, there's a sense of finality. It's relieving, but it's also
You're done.
Yeah, you're done. Like, the thing that I love doing is not in a hard no ever. And then right on the shoulders of that, like a roller, boom, activity to lights, no volunteering, for the rain stuff done. Within 2 weeks, like everything that I love doing was done. I was hurting, I was hurting, emotionally. Like, I was still in that where, everything kind of felt muted and underwater. I was having a tough time. This Santa thing came out and just filled a void. It was like when that first kid came in and hello, Carson, you. And
this is when you're playing Santa.
I wasn't playing him. You were Santa. I transformed him. And there's a moment in the documentary, I'm assuming a lot of people didn't see the documentary.
It's a great documentary. It's called Santa.
I Am Santa Claus.
I Am Santa Claus.
And it's legit scripted, where I have this little kid on my lap with, what would you like for
Getting there.
ball? I think pretty special ball. I had my son Huey with me. I said, I'll put my number one elf on it. Santa's got that kind of pull, the North Pole. I said, what should like? He goes, the ball. And I go, okay, two. And it just hits my head. It's like being in the ring and ad-libbing, and I realize I can't. I said, two, like, spears. And I came out of that experience. I was like, wow, it was like a major door had been opened for me. And checking out of the hotel the next day, my wife was late, running late, and it's kind of a blessing, because now I'm looking through my photos. We've taken a few photos. There's a great photo of my daughter, me and my daughter. She's sitting next to me, and it's a photo for me as a dad, because my daughter was 19 at the time. She wasn't embarrassed at all, and I was like, wow, I look pretty good. And I was like, I got one shot. Bother 5 people, 6 people. I'm going to send this to one person. And so I sent a text to Stephanie, and I said, if I show you a photo, will you look at it? Sure. I sent it over. I said, ho, 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 from called Saint Nick, and Brad said, "Is that you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Let's see if they'd like me to do tribute to the troops." And then the one, instead of being one and done, you know,
Damn, bro. I had good. Hey, we good with you? Why not? Shit. Hands on.
Your reign on the top was short like leprechauns as I so-called willies, thugs, and rapadons. Get in that ass quick fast like Ramadan. It's that rap phenomenon, Don Dada. Fuck Papa, you gotta call me Francis M.H. White intake like toast, toe iron. Was told in shootout, stay low and keep
That
firing.
would just
Keep
make life
extra clips for
complicated.
extra shit. Who's next to flip on that cat with that grip on rap? The most shady. Frankie baby. Ain't no telling where I may be. May see me in DC at Howard Homecoming with my man Capone drumming fucking something. You should know my stilo. Went from 10 G's for blow to 30 G's a show to 4 G's with O's I never seen before. So, Jesus, get off the notorious. Peanuts before I squeeze and bust. If the beef between us, we can settle it with the chrome and metal.
Yeah.
I make it hot like a kettle kit. You're delicate, you better get who sent you. You still pedal shit. I got more rides, the great adventure. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was Papa, don't hit me no more. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was Papa, don't hit me no more. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was Papa, don't hit me no more. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was Papa, don't hit me no more. On your mark, get set. When I spark, you wet. Look how dark it get when you mark for death. Should I start your breath or should I let you die? If fear you start to cry, ask why. Lyrically, I'm
Damn,
worth it.
65.
Don't write the word
Fuck.
sick. You cursed it, but rehearsed it. I drop unexpected. like bird shit. You heard skip. Stuck quickly for royalties and show money. Don't forget the publishing. I punish them. I'm done with them, son. I'm surprised you run
You really you?
I think they got coming cause they nothing but dicks. Trying to blow up like nitro and dynamite sticks. Man, I smoke hydro, rock diamonds, slick. Got paid off my flow. My own clip. Take trips to Cairo. Lay in with your bitch. I know you praying you was rich. Fucking prick. When I see you, I'm kicking the door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was Papa, don't hit me no more. Kicking the door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was Papa, don't hit me no more.
And then the one, instead of being one and done, now, now I'm on TV. And then that's its own set of problems. The expectations are the best time in front of 30 kids.
Right.
Now I'm in front of millions.
Mm-hmm.
And you get that. And so that's one of the lessons this year. But
What's the book called?
it's called, it's going to be called Saint Mick. Saint Mick. And the reason I decided to publish it is I just happened to be looking at the certified tweets, so certified. Yeah. And there was a writer who responded to a question about his favorite interview, and he said, no question, at Real Nick Foley. And so I go on his profile, and I saw he just started a small publishing house. So I give it the worst sales pitch of all time. And I go, listen, I'd be interested in a book that's really no audience. I don't want a large print number. I don't want to be out. I don't want to promote it much because I don't want to be sick of it. That's one of the things. I don't know if you found that. If you really push something, by the time you're done, you essentially don't
See it again.
yeah. And I didn't want to get to that moment, and so we're doing it, and I'm really happy with it. I went in and did some editing on my own. They're giving it another edit, and I think the books. It doesn't matter if it sells, 100 copies or not going to sell 100,000, but it's the fact that it's there on a shelf and it's timeless, and 100 years from now, someone could pick it up and be touched by it.
Read it on Kindle. How many books is this for you now?
This would be the
6. 5. Wow. All right, and I got to go back in and write another. Oh, jeez. Kid's book.
Yeah. It's number 11.
Jeez.
But 6. You and I are formidable. We've got memoirs.
I mean,
more than
people must be sick of our position. Last thing, there's a famous match, and if I'm wrong about this or not, there's the match that you guys were in San Jose, you and Owen Hart, knowing that Dave Meltzer was going to be there and going out there to have the worst match. Can you tell us about that?
It's very liberating, because we've been having stinkers, and the goal was to try to get. Steve was coming back from the neck injury, but he was such a draw, that once he was recovering, we brought Pro to be my second, and Owen and I were start to laugh. We almost had him. Steve would laugh backstage. He was
in the ring. He was stone cold. Yeah,
definitely stone cold. And then Anaheim, the night before we did San Jose.
Right.
San Jose, we almost had him opened up a box of soft drink. Owen, and I fluttering to the ground. Fluttering. And Owen's knees were buckling, he was doing the walk around the ring, where he's like butterflies. and Steve, he popped at backstage. You didn't pop, didn't pop in the ring. And then we were like, hey, let's like we get him. I don't know if it was me or Owen. I was like, wait a second, big Dave Meltzer in the audience. And I'm a stinker in San Jose. And like, yeah, we can. Yeah. we can, and like we went out of our way, you know, to find like even worse. In that case, you know, going through concessions, I see the giant Santa's packs popcorn. And what finally got Steve is then, you know, when I'm hammering Owen over the back, the giant sack of popcorn, and his knees are buckling. But then he breaks the eyes or something, and there's all this popcorn debris in the ring. When I start going down and selling, it looks like I'm wildly thrashing about. I'm actually like doing the angel, the popcorn angel. And I get out, and there's this big angel print with the, you know, the bowling pin physique, you know, like definitely getting wider at the base. And I look over at Steve, and a curse word is bringing home with a curse word. He got his arm in his he's got his head in his arm, but he's beet red. And he would wear that vest, you know, black vest, and you could see those huge lats shaking, you know. And he goes, look at his face, and he just, tears streaming down his face. He goes, "You the shits." And it was such a triumph, you know. Like we did it. We got him to pop. It was in front of Dave Meltzer. We know we're gonna get the half a star and done. It was like we had to do it. Much better than talking about the time we tore down the house and saying, "Okay, star match." And I gotta tell you, I'll just leave you with this. I'd like solidarity among the old school guys who know the legend of the Rock and Roll Express. So that if Ricky Morton does not at some point say, "Brother, we sold this son of a bitch out," I say me and Steve, we hit the stage.
Mick, this has definitely been the greatest podcast ever, the biggest podcast ever. Awesome talking to you, man.
I was afraid that with all the build-up, are we still on?
Yeah, we're still on.
I was afraid it was going to be the podcasting equivalent of like predicting hot sex and then just cuddling. But I think we came through with that.
We did good. We got some good, hot, verbal audio sex. Big up Fully Jericho, audio sex. That's the title.
Thanks again to Mick for being.
Oh, Hunter. Yes, as promised, ladies and gentlemen, less than 2 weeks away from WrestleMania in Orlando, and first time ever on GP. Triple H is here. Triple H, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm very geared up. I just got back from getting fitted for tuxedos for Hall of Fame.
Is that a first for you?
Well, we're in a tuxedo or for WrestleMania?
No, the tuxedo
Both.
thing.
Yeah. I am obviously particularly geared up this year to get to have such an up close seat to what is my favorite weekend of the year. So I'll start here. Yesterday, interesting night in Brooklyn. What does it feel like? I last week, I got to tell you, I haven't spoken to you. Your promo with Foley to end Raw last week was one of those real feeling moments where you really realize you're in WrestleMania season. How good did it feel the end of Raw last week?
Oh, it was great. You know, funny, there's certain guys or women that you have a certain chemistry with. Right? Like it just, when you get on screen with them, there's just something that it just, whatever, everything clicks and you just have magic kind of a feel to whatever you do. And it's that way with Mick. You know, I think for both of us, we felt like it was like a trip back 15 years in time. It's something that we haven't done. You know, he and I haven't been in the ring together ever, not in anything meaningful. To have that moment was very cool, and he brings out an intensity. I think my character brings it out in him, where he can get real and emotional, and it's just a very cool place for both of us. We're really excited.
One of my favorite things that honestly probably drew me back into this business when I came back to it in 05 or so was the dichotomy, like the relationships like that you know, sometimes you have people working together. I think there may be some situations leading into WrestleMania in which there's some real heat between people, and then there are times when it's a really great working relationship that makes it so good. With a relationship like that with Mick, does it just make you that much more comfortable to really? I mean, you were an inch from his face. You know, you really seemed comfortable just laying into him. Does it do that for you?
Yeah, and I think there's part of it, like, to me, as a, you know, as a character, you look in the other guy's eyes, see what he's bringing. I know what's, and I know when if I move forward, I know the reaction. I never forget, there was a time years ago when sometimes you're trying to get a reaction of the guy's not tense enough. You do something to him, you're trying to get a reaction because it's all about that reaction chemistry. I had done something with a guy where I had kind of pie-faced the ring because he wasn't intense and I knew that creative and make him fire up on me. It's actually my brother-in-law. But I knew it would just infuriate him, and it did, and he got the reaction. And in a minute, just, you know. And then I did that years later with another performer, and the guy at Frank, like, looked at me like, you know, and it was the exact wrong reaction, but I was taking a guess at it because he was giving me nothing, and I was trying to get something more out of it, you know. When you work with somebody like Nick, and we did the show times that I know what's there, and I know when I press him, he knows when he presses me, fires up what I'm going to give. I think that's part of that chemistry.
How different are you? I mean, you're in an interesting spot where, I mean, for a ton of reasons, but in this case, because you work with guys who you've worked with forever, you still get to have some interactions like that, and then you work with kids who grew up idolizing. What makes the generations different in terms of psychology?
It's just experience. And a lot of times, guys, I say this, it's funny, Shawn Michaels and I, conversation, he's doing a lot of another performance stuff. And I said to him, every now and then you gotta just say to yourself, kids are learning this. That's it. We forget sometimes how brief a period of time doing this. And because they're at WrestleMania or because they're on Raw and it's packed and it's huge and you know, like, bro, but they've been doing this for 2 years. Or they've been doing it for years. Or sometimes you find guys that have been doing it, he's been doing it for 15 years. But he's been doing it out in the independent circuit. And nobody's been guiding him. He's been the best guy there. No one's been helping him get better. No one, like, they don't do a lot of TV and a lot of characters. So it might have been physically in the ring, and even then, guys say, I've been in the business 10 years. And sometimes, you know, so the level of skill, I think when you break it down into neighbors' head, it's just, because I don't want to say a skill level, guys are very skilled, but experience. You get to a point where you know what you're doing, but the experience to just feel it and be in that moment without having to think, worry about what do I do. Just feel, not think. And I think that only comes with experience. This job, you get better the more reps you do. Or
Of the new generation of the kids who are like, and some of them are kids, many of them, you know, that's like AJ, Owens. There are people here who are not kids, but they are new to the big time. Who got it the easiest? Who did you notice it just clicked for them?
It's hard to say click right away, but there's guys like when you see somebody that came from not having it all in a way, but like you could see it was there. Was like all the Bray Wyatt reinvent himself. Be Paul. You know, I think it took a Seth Rollins. It took him a while to get comfortable. You know, what was good about the Shield, they were all able to be comfortable with each other and support each other while they were system and environment and all those things. It's hard, man. If you're by yourself, it's all on you. That's a difficult spot. When you have backup like groups, and, a little bit of time to get yourself comfortable. Comfort level. Inside your own head, you question what you know, what you don't know. You start thinking instead of reacting, feeling. Put it all.
you've gotten to work with. I mean, one of the things I really enjoy about you still being active is I love how many connections you have to history of wrestling. You to Kowalski, all the way back. You coming up to the fact that you worked with Owen and Brett and Rocky and Take. I mean, you've worked with absolutely everyone. Are there any names that stick out in your head of the guys? Like, this is from someone who knows nothing but watching. You know, I always felt like when I saw Randy Orton first, he's one of those things where when you're a second or third generation superstar, they just seem to have, oftentimes, they have this built-in ability. I'm talking about sheer just in-ring skills that you go, whoa, this person's just unnaturally good. Whereas there are other people who you've watched. Cena is a guy, for example, we've watched him get better over the years. Who are some of the guys that you were just blown away at almost physically how little effort it was for them to be great?
I'll tell you the guy that sticks out the most to me, and probably sounds convenient because he's going in the Hall of Fame this year to bring him up, but it's not. Like, I remember when they first started talking about Kurt, he kind of came in, he was super great. He just started. I didn't know what he was doing, but he just physically picked up the physicality of it. You know, obviously, when he did, sort of kind of second nature. But then the entertainment component of it and the personality component of it being larger than life. You know, amateur wrestlers, Olympic wrestlers, they don't want to show it. They want to show the pain. They don't want to show the excitement, right? They want to keep it at equal. Just do what they do. Emotions and tech burns energy, and there's a different vibe. You'll be able to come in and flip that switch and go the other way and just be this straight entertainer. He picked it up faster than anybody I've ever seen do that. It was amazing, and you know, look, he had a couple of years into his career, he was main eventing manias and having just this unbelievable run of success that. And he had no right, really, to be having it that short a period of time in his career. It was amazing.
When you look back, I mean, that's the amazing thing. And, of course, the Friday night this year, before WrestleMania, on the WWE Network, you can watch Kurt Angle be inducted to the Hall of Fame. But I was talking about this last week with JBL when I was doing Bring to the Table. You just don't understand how good that guy. I mean, like you said, this is so... It's of course it's great to have a background, and you do meet many guys even to this day who have a background in amateur wrestling. But from a performance standpoint, it's so utterly different. And when you really look at Kurt's run, it was a short period of time. Yeah. When you really think about it.
Yeah,
and he was the top.
Yeah, and he was unbelievable at it. He was able to take it to a completely different place, and then but also at the same point in time not take himself too seriously. Not like. Here's a guy that's an Olympic gold medalist, and if somebody came up with an idea within the show to make fun of his medals or do something crazy with his medals, he's like, okay. You know, he just didn't. It was about being entertaining. It was about being an entertainer and about being a performer, and it wasn't about anything else. It made him amazing. You know, there's other guys too. You talk about like a Randy Orton. I've told Randy this since the day I met him. Like, he had every tool to succeed. The only guy that was going to stop Randy was Randy. Because he's kind of can be a little bit of a self-destructor, but he has everything it takes. Just, I don't know if that's because he's just gifted or because he watched his dad who was great for so long, or I don't know what it is, but then he just has it all. And I still think Randy doesn't take advantage of all the tools he has. I still think he does what he needs to do. You know what I mean? But he
But there's another level there if you want it.
I believe. I just think he's that good. You know, I don't know if that's me believing in him more than he believes in him. I don't know what that is, but don't get me wrong. He's great. I just wonder how great he could be.
There, Karen. Latest fans-focused baseball podcast. The awesome talk last night starts the weekend with news about JD Martinez, Jason. But with us, Christian's 101 facts, all bowlers apparently, and the answer you're asking.
Now I got to ask you one somewhat tough question, so I don't seem like an utter shell. You mentioned Kurt. I think everyone knows he's been relatively clear, even on his interview that we ran on Bring to the Table, that ultimately he would love to do at least one more run. And on some level, you are among the deciders in that conversation. Do you think there's a chance we see Kurt Angle in the ring again?
But I think that And then we were very clear with Kurt. I've been very clear with Kurt in every conversation I've had on this topic. It's a proving ground. So there's been he did a lot of great things, and there was a lot of time under the table, with a lot of baggage, all those things. And, it just comes back down to let's get back together. Let's see how it goes. Goes well for you, goes well for us, and everything is great. And then we see where it goes from there. I'm not going to say never. Kurt would have to go through a lot of physical requirements to be allowed to perform in the ring, and I know that angers fans. That's us looking out for the well-being of general. That is. And
that's a positive growth in the business, whether people understand it or not.
Absolutely. When people talk about the side of it, there's no even comparing it. The difference between our business and other sports, the idea in other sports is football is to hit the other guy as hard as you can. You have to stop him. Boxing, to hit the other guy, two actually concuss him, or just punch him in the head, whatever. The physicality, the intent is the intent in ours is the exact opposite. To make it look as good as possible with the least amount of impact, and safety is that's the first thing. You cannot protect your opponent. Do not do it. You cannot.
Do you love? Sorry, Hunter. Do you love that? And by the way, that's why I'm fascinated. That is really the ultimate. When I'm in a conversation with family members who, or people I don't see that often who don't understand my fascination, one of the first things I'll tell them is that the fact that it's perceived violence, but the ultimate goal is to protect one another, is to me the beauty of this art form. Do you love though that you were part of kind of the last era? You got to be there. You weren't a known commodity in territory, but you were still in the locker room when it was a much less scene. I was at the show last night, and there are tours, there are VIP tours for clients, backstage.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked. That wouldn't have worked 20 years ago.
Exactly.
They would have been scarred for life.
Exactly. And you got to really do both. I mean, you were there when it was still you guys running around and kind of running roughshod, and now you are part of this corporate entity. Do you love that you got to do both, and do you ever have, do you ever miss those days of when it was a simpler business?
In some ways, I guess the simpler version of it. Some of the other stuff. I say this to our developmental talent in NXT or whatever it is, right? Because I'm a true believer, and I've been saying this since I put this part over. The business will be what we want it to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. We do today will create what the business. We will create what we want here, and then it will boil. And that is the truth. I really believe. So, and I say this to guys all the time. I love this business. I'll put my passion for this business up. And I think there's no greater form of entertainment. I think there's no greater art form to me, industry, all of it. I love it. There's been times I cannot tell you how proud I am to be part of this in any way, shape, or form. It's also been. And I think there's, and I don't even have to tell you what those situations are. I think there are moments in time when anybody can look at it and go when I say I want it to be different, that's how I want it to be. I want to get rid of those embarrassments. I want to get rid of the problems, guys with problems, the people that can't function as normal in society, things that what we do as a performer. When you watch somebody go and do something, I go, oh my God, embarrassing it makes us trouble. We want to be respected, then we have to go and ask. Not ask, demand that. We have to show people that we respect. It starts with respecting yourself and what you do, right? And wanting to put it out on a level of professionalism, athletes, as performers, as actors, and whatever, however you want to reference it, entertainers, to have that respect. We have to respect what we do in ourselves first, and then go from there. That starts with it being different across the board, and I think we've come such a different the entire industry. Now, no, it's funny that it's started to create a culture where now guys and girls, they're policing it themselves. This person, they don't change how they. It's somebody's gonna do something that embarrasses the company or them or what they do. They don't want them to. And it's a different vibe from the get go. And it's not that the business is less fun. It's that it's the business, not the
That's the extra stuff. And
Yeah.
you make a really great point, because ultimately, as much as we can, restore, now there are books and podcasts and ways and the network, YouTube, and you can relive the quote unquote good old days. You're right. I mean, ultimately, the things that made those days wild were also directly related to what, in many ways, made wrestling sort of something we're embarrassed to say like. Like it was all tied together. So it is a very interesting way of putting it. As we move towards a WrestleMania, I got to ask you, one of the guys I'm most excited about, great again last night, is Braun Strowman. I was saying to my buddies, I really feel like you guys have been looking for a monster like him for a long time. And I remember it, people kind of laughing when I say it, but I push for the repackaged Snitsky. I remember when Ryback started, and it's like this seems like the guy. And first of all, can you tell us anything about where you think he'll end up at WrestleMania? Because it sort of seems like we're very close to it, and we don't know what happens to him.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure exactly the plan. Look, I can't imagine. This is the time of year where everybody is so busy. I haven't been, Vince is laying out a lot of this, and I haven't been around for a lot of it because we've been kind of running in different directions, so to speak, with a lot of our projects. I haven't had that exact conversation with him. I'm imagining, though, he has gotten. He's got a lot of stuff behind him. I can't imagine we're just going to let that fall off. Surely that there are big plans for him when they decided to do that. So he's done a phenomenal job. It's funny, there was what we were talking about a minute ago about guys not having a lot of experience. There was a period of time, just a month or two after he debuted on the main roster, he did something in the ring that Vince had just told him about, and had me talk to him about it. And he did it again, and Vince looked. I don't get it. Is he gonna make it? I don't understand why he doesn't get that. What is wrong with him? And I looked at him, I go, what do you catch? You know what I mean? He does. He's trying to figure out what he's doing. He's lucky he got in the ring today. And he looked right at me and he was like, "You're really great." He just.
Well, how many matches have you had before you were in a prominent position?
Yeah, that's the thing. And now it's like if you don't make it right away, the world is just so impatient. And then even when you do, everybody wants it now. Everybody right this second, right now. And there's that moment in time of having that slow boil. I've looked at periods of time in my career where I was supposed to get this, or I was supposed to get that, or this could have happened to me and it didn't. And I think now, looking back at it with the wisdom that I have now, or the knowledge I have now, I can look at it and say, oh God, thank God that didn't happen to me. That I wasn't ready for it. I thought I was, but I wasn't. And it would have probably folded, and it wouldn't have worked out well for me. But later, when I did get it, and I did get that opportunity, I was ready. I was ready to grab the ball and run. Ready to hit it out of the park. I was ready for all of that. But you gotta be ready for it. And it's tough. These guys, sometimes we're dumping stuff on them that they don't have the skill. They don't have the confidence and the ability to be able to do. So you have to handhold them and walk them through it and hope for the best. And it usually comes out pretty good. People will rise to the occasion, but you have to keep that in mind that they're not the guy coming into your territory that's been to 20 other territories, has 12 years under his belt. He's been a top guy in 3 different territories. Started out at the bottom and had to figure out his way to get himself over to get to the top. They're guys thrilled to have a job, and they're hoping for the best, and they're trying to do everything you tell them to do in the right way.
What are you most excited for Mania aside from your match or whatever your unsanctioned fight that you're gonna have with Seth Rollins?
Well, only if Saints go.
Right, if he signs the hold harmless guy.
Yes.
Which I never seen that. I didn't even know that terminology until last night, by the way.
Yeah, that's lawyer speak.
Yeah, I did not know that was a thing. What are you? I've actually become most excited, shockingly, at least for me, for this mixed tag match, which I think the work that Miz and Maurice have been doing to really, and again, when there's a story that you can see is sort of based in some real things that have happened,
Yeah.
it makes it extra appealing. But that's the one that I'm particularly excited about. But what on the card are you pumped for?
I'm excited for all of it. You know, it's look to me. Anytime Taker goes to the ring, I'm excited for it. I'm anxious to see that match, and I know it's so funny now that the Roman Reigns. You know, people are gonna be excited for that match, and it's gonna be wow. The people, some don't like him, some like him. It's just this crazy place that we're at in the business right now. You know, but that to me is gonna be something special to me. Even just last night when they were buzzing. And they'll all say, you know, afterwards, oh, I don't want to see that match. Really? Because it sounds like you're really loud when they're up there.
In the Rumble, put it up on my fast lane. The noise for their match was incredible. I was Roman and Braun.
Yeah.
It's the loudest point of the night.
Yeah.
It's the way it is with Cena.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And, you know, the Cena, to me, that's a tremendous example that when you put something on paper, if somebody would have said to you 3 months ago, that's the match, it's going to be Cena and Nikki versus Miz and Maurice, you'd be like, oh.
I was. When
Right.
I first heard that was an idea, I was like, oh, I mean, we don't know how much time Nikki has left. Is that really the best way to use it? I don't know.
But then
now
when
here
you're,
we are.
when you're a pro, like that Cena, man, you can knock him whatever you want, man. He makes stuff. And he is in the position. And Miz, you know, criticize him all you want, say all you want about whatever. He's a hard-working dude, and he is again another guy that will put his heart and soul into something. Might not be exactly what he wanted, might not be the be-all end-all for him, but he's going to put his heart and soul into it. He's going to make it as good as it can possibly be. And that, to me, that earns my respect. So those are very exciting matches. I think there's a lot of hype, and you know, people can say what they want about it. There's a lot of hype and a lot of build-up around the Goldberg and Lesnar, and to me, that's exciting. You know, what are they going to do with it? Right? And that's the point you can get to. You can say whatever you want about it, but at the end of it, what are they going to do with that?
I'm guessing you truly don't know. Like, I'm guessing you can't know what you. I mean, maybe you've seen more, but I imagine that very few people know what Goldberg's capable of.
Yeah, I don't. You know, looking, and I've been in the ring with Brock. When Brock grabs you and throws you, you don't have a whole lot of choice. It's what can you handle on the landing, and so you know, it's going to be interesting to see where that all goes. I don't know, and maybe Goldberg's 100%, and but even if you don't look at it from that standpoint, and you just look at it from the storyline standpoint, what are they going to do? Are they going to go 20 minutes? Are they going to go 5? Are they going to go a minute? I don't know.
He's on like 4 minutes so far in 3 appearances. So
Right. So if he goes 5, it's awesome. You know, I don't know, but that is, to me, there's all these matches on the card at WrestleMania, and you don't know. You don't know exactly what. I think you do, you know, and it could go either way, and we can tell that story a million different ways, and which way. You can't call it, and that's what to me makes all of it that Randy Orton break the same way to you guys. You know, and that story's been told masterfully. I think one of the things that's been done this year is there's a lot of long-term storylines that are playing. Happened is 3-4 years. You know, Goldberg and Brock, they've been telling that story for a long time. Randy Orton, for a while, they've been telling that story for a long time. And there's a lot of stuff that's coming out of it. People.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm so excited to get down there. I'm gonna let you go. I know you have a lot to do.
Well, hey, but real quick though, you talked about the weekend. Let's talk about the week though, because it's 5 events. It's Hall of Fame, but you left out NXT.
We did a takeover Saturday night.
We got takeover on Saturday, and that's an amazing event.
Wait, so what's the 5 total? We have a Hall of Fame. We have takeover. we have WrestleMania.
All in Orlando that week. You have the fan access and everything else. Then you have Hall of Fame on Friday, Takeover on Saturday, Mania on Sunday, Raw on Monday, SmackDown on Tuesday. All in Orlando. All 5 events.
That is incredible, by the way. That does make this one different. And of course, Orlando is home away from home. For some people, home. So it's going to be a different and special WrestleMania. I'm so psyched to be there. Most important, last question. Have you seen my show, Bring It to the Table, on the network?
So I have not. I've seen the clips of it. It's funny. This whole time I have to get clip shows now because we put out so much content that I can't watch it. Like it would be a full-time job for me to watch everything that we put out. So a lot of times I have to get the highlight clips of everything to see it. So I've seen the highlight clip, but I haven't seen the full show yet. But I've heard it's great.
Listen, it's WrestleMania season. I'm going to give you a break, but at some point by SummerSlam, I want some feedback.
I'll try to watch a full episode before I see you at Mania, and I'll use it.
All right, listen, I appreciate you. Very excited to be a part of everything down there, and looking forward to see what you do with Seth.
It's great to have you to be a part of this. And I know we've known each other for a long time, and we talked about it and been on the cusp of it and all that stuff. But I love when people that have just a passion for what we do get involved, and you can feel that passion for what we do. It means a lot. So thanks for being in it, man.
I'll take that. Thank you very much, Hunter. Have a good one, bro. Take care.
Nice. Okay. Not too. Oh. Oh. Need to get more of them. Ooh. Gosh. Oh my. Oh no! Bro. Oh. Oh no, no. Oh! Aura! Get him! Get him! Oh, damn, guys, hold up!
Season. I took some of the seasoning I did to try it. Ooh. Just letting it bake and finish. I wasn't trying. Be done here soon, but there's a lot of it, so.
Done now?
No. It's still
Oh, okay.
baking up.
Oh. Oh. Nice. Oh, what's the color? Okay. Son of a whore.
the muscle for that.
Not bad. Fuck it. My camera. Let's stare at all this, and just gonna move the stash right. Okay. Okay. So, What up, Logic? Welcome back, cuz. Welcome back, bro. Oh shit. You on the stoop? Duck kick.